Cole Sports presents on the Daily. Well, how are you doing, VIP? Happy Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Hope it was a wonderful day for your ears. Cole Johnson's live in the living color on the Daily's on tap, even on this holiday, presented by Cole Sports. And if you haven't done so already, come on. Subscribe to this channel, hit the notification bell to get any and all content, especially from this show, which airs Monday through Friday. So be in the know whether you're dealing with people in your house or at work or at church or wherever you congregate amongst people. On the Daily, presented by Cole Sports every Monday through Friday. It is the beginning of yet another week, and I will talk further about what took place in the divisional round, and we'll talk later about what is going to take place in the championship weekend round in my new show. So stay tuned for that. But I want to deal with something that took place late last week. The wonderful news of James Harden no longer a Rocket. He now is a Net. Oh my gosh, that was just so good. Hearing those words make me feel so euphoric. But now that he's a Net, the Brooklyn Nets, they now are considered to be a contender for a stronger contender now for the NBA championship come 2021. I beg to differ. They've become actually the biggest soap opera the NBA has ever produced in a long time. And why do I say that? Well, I'll give you 5 reasons on the other side. Welcome to the latest installment of The List. Now, I'll later talk about the details of the trade, but that's not what I want to talk about here. I want to talk about how this trade has changed the Nets, maybe for the better, maybe for the worse, but definitely for the more entertaining. And of course, the biggest factor is Kevin Durant's health. Wherever he goes, the Nets go, no matter who's on the team, no matter how talented they are. Their wagon is hitched to number 7 of the Nets. But here are 5 other reasons that has nothing to do with Kevin Durant, why the Nets are a soap opera. Let's start with the first one. The town in which they reside. New York, New York, right? So the Nets and the Knicks are at a tug of war for I guess you could say, the person's dollar in the New York streets. They want to be the team of New York. And of course, the Knicks are the stalwart franchise. They're the establishment franchise, much like the Yankees are in MLB versus the Mets. The Yankees are the establishment. The Mets are, even now, 60 years later, they're still the Johnny-come-lately. Well, the Knicks are the establishment, and the Nets are the Johnny-come-lately, especially the Johnny-come-lately into New York. I mean, they had a whole state to the west of New York, in New Jersey. They could have owned, operated all the way from Newark to Trenton. But did they want to do that? No. They wanted a piece of the New York pie. And because of that, you get all of the stories that you really don't want to hear. You get all of the attention that you really don't think they deserve. You get all of this focus that a team that really should belong elsewhere gets. And because of it, it's more of a soap opera than, okay, so this is what's happening to the Nets. That's a problematic thing in my book. And speaking of problematic, the second reason why the Nets are going to be an absolute big soap opera, the beard, James Harden. And if you don't believe me, all you have to do is just look at the last 2 months. I mean, before training camp began in December, he was attending birthday parties, non-social distanced, no masked, and not being in camp, and outwardly saying he wanted to be traded ever since October. But what makes it even more interesting of him being on the team is that this guy is Mr. Pass the Buck. You don't believe me? So Dwight Howard's on the team with the Rockets when Harden gets on it. The team makes a little headway, but they don't get where they want to go, which is, of course, mid-June and hoisting the Larry O'Brien Trophy. Harden basically said that he has to go out, and the organization booted Howard. So they had more success. They actually get to the conference finals in 2015, where they meet up with the Warriors, the eventual champions that year. Then the next year, they start sluggish, 7-11. Harden said, hey, that coach that's on the bench, he's not worth it. We need to have another coach. Kevin McHale, you're out of there. Then after a season, he begged, he pleaded, he James Browned Chris Paul. And in a pickup game said, we would wreck shop. We would have the best backcourt in the league. You need a ring. I need a ring. We'll both be hungry and we get it together. And after failing in doing so in 2018 and then doing so the very next year, guess what Harden did to management? Nah, he's old. He's the reason why we lost in 2018 and 19. And management got CP3 up out of there. He got his boy Westbrook in there. And after 1 year, Westbrook was out of there. That's what the Nets have to look forward to come 2021 and beyond. This guy is not a team player. This guy will self-destruct and he will destroy a franchise if you let him. So I give you this warning, Nets organization, don't let James Harden control your team because he will ruin it. Just look at the Rockets. Well, not now because I have to thank you because you've made the Rockets much better in the future than your very own. And speaking about futures, number 3 on the list as to why the Nets are a soap opera. Bye-bye future. And why do I say that? I mean, the Nets mortgaged just about everything to get the Larry O'Brien Trophy to be hoisted in Barclays. And for what? For a talent that may or may not be what you want, a talent that will put butts in seats if you actually do allow butts to be put in seats, a talent that could give you 30 points a night, a talent that if he wants to could give you also 10 boards and 10 assists, but a talent that also can take nights off like he did his last days in Houston. You have that to look forward to because you can't say you're looking forward to the future because many first-round draft picks are gone. And a few of your bench players, key bench players, are gone. Not to mention one of your key contributors that is not Durant or Harden or the other person I'm going to mention later. He's out for the year. So you have troubled waters ahead. And you mortgaged your future for a guy who is on the tail end of his prime. I hope the gamble's well worth it because you might pay and pay dearly and severely on the other end. All right, I did mention Larry O'Brien, right? The number 4 reason why the Nets are going to be the best soap opera we've seen in quite some time in the NBA. This team now has an all or nothing scenario painted for them. So in order for this trade that they've made with the Rockets, the Pacers, and the Cavs, Harden has to be the main reason why they won it in 2021. If not, he would be the main reason why people will point to why the Nets did not win that trophy. And I'm not even talking about getting to the finals. Getting to the finals is not going to be a moral victory for this team. Getting to the playoffs is not even going to be a moral victory for this team. They got to win it all. And when you have that type of desperation and you have that type of 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 appeal that unfortunately that pressure puts on a team, you'll start to see things that you really don't want to see, and you'll start to witness things that you never thought you would see. And speaking about things we never thought or we would witness or see, that brings me to the last reason why the Nets are and will be the best soap opera we have seen in the NBA in quite some time. Uncle Drew Kyrie Irving, aka Uncle AWOL. What else do I have to say about Kyrie Irving? I mean, the guy insisted on becoming a Net because he wanted to be in New York. That was the thing. He wanted to be in New York. Now he's in New York. Didn't play but a third of the games last year because he got injured. Now, fully healthy with Durant, who is fully healthy, he barely gets to 3 weeks and he's gone. No explanation, no injury, gone. Don't say anything to the coach. Don't say anything to the organization. Gone. Then we see him just pop up on Zoom meetings, and we see him pop up doing the same thing that Harden did, attending birthday parties, no social distancing, no mask. It's just an irresponsible employee. Now, I'm not saying he's a bad guy. I mean, he just recently, from what I've read, bought a home for the George Floyd family. The guy has a wonderful heart, but the guy is an impossible employee. In fact, he's a terrible one. Now, I speak from experience. Why? Because there was a time when I was a terrible employee. And in being so, and I thought I was just in my stance, I got what I deserved from the employer, the boot. And that's what Uncle AWOL is going to have to avoid. Because if he keeps doing this, that's exactly what the Nets are going to tell him. They're going to tell that young man, quote, "We are so sorry. We wish you good luck in your future endeavors." Close quote. So, to review, the 5 reasons as to why the Nets are going to be the best soap opera we've ever seen, or we have seen in quite some time. Number 1, look where they play. New York City. Duh. Number 2, the beard. I mean, he's a soap opera all by himself. Number 3, they mortgage their future for one player. Not a good thing. Number 4, it is all or nothing. It's Larry O'Brien or it's nada. And number 5, Kyrie Irving, aka Uncle AWOL. I now need to get my popcorn, sit back and relax and enjoy this spectacle that's going to emanate from Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York for the next, hopefully, 5 months, possibly 4, possibly 3. But the latter part of the winter and the early part of spring of 2021 is going to be chock full of entertainment, thanks to the Brooklyn Nets. Now, if you want this shirt that you see right before your very eyes, the description box below has all the details as to where to get this shirt and how to style it. After all, you need to have this shirt in your life. Take it from me. And if you think that I'm being harsh on the Nets, or if you believe what I'm saying, in either case, like this video and share it throughout your social media. Comment below because I want to hear what you have to say, VIP. And don't forget, hit that notification bell and subscribe to this channel, for any and all content that emanates from here. Well, thank you so much. I love you, VIP. I do this for you. And I wish you love, success, and freedom, the very tenets of what Martin Luther King Jr. preached to all of us. Oh, and of course, love. From all of us here at Cole Sports, I'm Cole Johnson, and this has been yet another installment of Cole Sports on the visual and on the daily.